It's like wisdom, man.
Oh, that's so bad. that's a long one.
Yeah. Well, that's what she said. Dennis.
Yes, my main man.
It's
back
been
from your journey across the pond and back.
Across the pond and then across different other parts of the water. Yeah.
Let's hear about that. I want to hear about that first.
Well,
including, of course, my persistent questions about where you ate and what you ate.
Yes.
You know, I'm all over that shit.
So first stop was I left on a Sunday afternoon, and I arrived Sunday night in Miami, Florida. It's my first time ever being there. It was hot and humid as fuck.
Yeah, how hot? 80s?
Yeah, I mean it was like 80s temperature, but like feels like high 80s. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're instant sweat.
Yeah, and got to my hotel, and the hotel was super modern, tech, swanky. Like if you look at the Google satellite view of the address, there's just like a sandy hole there. Like they hadn't built it a year ago. Whenever that last photo was taken, so it's all super new, and it was all super techy. Like there was a little iPad mini on the bedside table that controlled the blinds and the lights and the TV and the color of the lights and the thermostat, and it was just all like, it's sort of like Star Trek, where like you pick up a little tablet and you like boop 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 and you like configure your room. Which is pretty
Did you have fun with that?
Yeah, for like a couple minutes, but I was tired.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of cool. And then I had a whole day to decompress.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
in Miami.
Before the conference.
In your choices for a whole day. Now you slept, you laid around some to relax, sure, but did you do any?
So I met up with a soon to become very good friend, but a person I had never met, a French woman who like her mother is Spanish and she lives in the island of Mallorca in Spain. So she speaks English too, but she prefers Spanish to English. And she was like, "All right, let's go see some stuff." And so we went out. She had a good instinct. Like it hadn't occurred to me to like look for what to see.
Yeah.
But she said, "Let's go to Little Havana."
Yeah, sure. Good choice.
Which is like, yes,
safe
indeed.
Bet. Good food, music, yes.
And so we took an Uber there, and I don't know if it was this Uber or another one, but we started talking to the Uber driver, and the Uber driver had some stories. He said that, well, first of all, we asked him, so where are you from? He said, "Well, I grew up in New York City." And we're like, okay. And how long have you been in Miami? And he said, 6 years. And we said, "So do you like it in Miami?" He said, "No, I hate it.
Oh.
Miami's horrible. I hate it. Everyone is so false. Everyone is so, I just hate it." And we said, "So why are you still here?" And he said, "My wife likes it here." And we're like, "All right, fine. Like, whatever, we get it. We live places for love." But then he went on to talk about how this one time he had this client that it was an older man and older woman in their early 70s, and they were sitting in the back of that same car that we were in. And he said he sort of looked back and he saw that the woman was like scrolling through his like the reviews of him as an Uber driver. And then the man, and like they whispered or something, and the man said, "Hey, how would you like to pick me up every 2 weeks on Tuesday at the airport and take me to my apartment in the city?" And he was like, "Fine, whatever." Turns out this man is a billionaire with a B, who lives in New York City and has a house in the swanky part of Miami, and goes every 2 weeks to Miami. And the driver said that whenever this guy gets out of the car, he unwraps like 10 $100 bills and like hands it to the driver, just like as a tip.
$1,000 tip?
$1,000 for, I mean, that's probably the payment for the whole ride, but it's every 2 weeks. So, damn. But, and the driver said this could be totally fabricated. It's just a story that he tells all of his people. Who knows?
Right.
But he said it's some sort of executive from Apple that, which
living the life.
I don't know how many billionaires there are, but
living the life. Well,
so anyway, it was a good story. It's a good story, and I retold it.
Two less than there should be. Let's put it that way.
Indeed, whatever that means.
That means you and I. Besides that, we just know there's not enough of them.
I mean, you and I should be billionaires, but
there you go.
There we go.
I
got it.
Speaking of billionaires, shall we launch?
You want to get
more stories?
You want to talk about food and shit? Yeah. So, we were on our way to Little Havana.
Okay. Well,
and
we only have an hour, so.
Anyway, we had we walked around Little Havana, which was super cute and of course Cuban, and I always find it amusing when I'm in a group of people that are like totally bilingual in my two languages.
Yeah.
How the language flows from sentence to sentence in changes and can be, and that's always super interesting to me. But like Miami is a whole fucking city that like is all bilingual. Like everyone speaks both.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But anyway, so we got to Little Havana and we had Cuban fajitas. So Cuban fajitas are it's the same contents as Mexican fajitas that I'm used to, except instead of tortillas, they have little compressed cakes made out of bananas.
Wow.
And you put the meat and veggies and stuff on that, and it was delightful.
Is it crunchy or
the banana thing is super crunchy? Yes.
And is it sweet? A little?
Oh, just a little.
Banana is not plantain.
I mean, it might be plantain.
Is it bigger? Is it large or?
I didn't see the actual banana, but like the little things were like pancake size, but like they were sliced and compressed, and I don't know.
Might be plantains. Though. Well, anyway, but good, huh? Good.
Anyway, it was fucking amazing. Yes. And other amazing food was also consumed, including at the end of the conference. So normally they have a speakers dinner for all the speakers the day before the conference, but this one they sort of messed it up and they had it the day like when the conference was over, which has its pros and cons. Like everyone is relaxed or whatever. But we went to this restaurant, amazing food, lots and lots and lots of amazing food. And they were serving out of pitchers, either sangria or mojito. And I was drinking mojitos, but like after about the ninth one, it was like, hold on. After about the ninth one, it was clear that there was no fucking alcohol in this at all. It was it was just lemonade and
is that true?
Yeah, there was just
for both of them? Or even for the sangria?
Yeah, I don't know about the sangria, but everyone that was drinking mojitos was like,
why they couldn't call it a mojito unless it had alcohol in it? Well, that's false.
It's a virgin mojito. I don't know.
Well, they could say that. That would be true, but they didn't say that, apparently.
True, they didn't.
I think, let me help you. We should write a strongly worded letter to the management.
We should. So after the dinner was over, and the very last thing, there was one of these menus where like they bring you each thing on the fucking menu, a little bit like to share. And when we were super, super full, the last thing they brought was truffle fries. Which was like French fries with like truffle stuff on top.
Truffle oil, right.
That was just, the smell was just amazing, but like we couldn't possibly eat anymore.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, after
Parmesan cheese on it, the truffle fries.
There was some cheesiness to it, yes. So afterwards, the conference organizers were like, "We need some alcohol up in here," because the conference organizers are from Croatia. And so they asked the waiter, like, what's the typical beverage around here? And the waiter was like, well, we got tequila. And they were like, tequila, yes, tequila. And so the waiter was, he and I were talking a little bit in Spanish, and the conference organizer was like, okay, Erik, you choose what tequila we have. And so the waiter went back to check on some things and came back, and he was like, all right, we got three kinds of tequila. We got your blonde, we got your old, and we got your reposado. And I said, well, what would you recommend? And he said, well, the light one is for mixed drinks, and the old one is for like sipping really slowly, and the reposado one is best for like shots. And I was like, all right, well, I guess that's what we're up for. And he said, and then I started asking, so how many shots do we want? And the organizer was like, just get the fucking bottle. And I was like, okay. And so the waiter said, well, the bottle, no matter which one you choose, the bottle is $425. And I was like, okay, well, they told me we could get the bottle. So yeah, let's go with that. And so anyway, we ordered this bottle on the organizer's bill. And it was the best fucking tequila I've ever had.
How many shot glasses did they pull out? I mean, how many people were you talking?
There were at least a dozen, maybe 15.
Yeah.
And so we went through 2 rounds of that before people started being like, no, that's enough. And
there was some left?
We ended up taking the rest of the bottle in a brown bag back to the hotel and had some more. But anyway, it was amazing. So that's
fun.
And my super fancy tech hotel was right across the street from where the Miami Heat play there in the stadium. So,
which they're in the playoffs.
At the end of the conference, there was a game where the Celtics beat them. Miami Heat was up like 3-0, and the Celtics beat them 1. And now it's like tied or something. So, anyway,
exciting.
So
Miami's a big city. I was there, and I wrote a poem about it, and I don't remember all the poem. I'd have to look it up, but I remember one of the phrases was something to the tune of a country boy with a paper bag full of seashells and sand, because that's what I did when I was in Miami. I went to the shore and just walked. Now,
nice.
What was the other crazy part of town? Not south.
The South Beach of Miami Beach.
South Beach.
Yes.
Is where.
So that was the other place that we decided to go on our free day, and the Miami Beach was the beach was meh, not that interesting. It was just a mediocre beach, in my opinion, because I'm so spoiled with my beach that I have here.
Shops and the bars and the.
Yes, there were some nice restaurants, and we stopped at one that was playing some nice music, and we had again some other like ropa vieja and other delicious things.
We had a conference in Miami where we went to South Beach, and I recall this woman. I can't remember much about her. I kind of remember what she looked like. She was older than me at the time. This is many years ago. And during the event, I found her very interesting and engaging, and I liked talking to her and whatnot. So when we got to South Beach and sat down for drinks and then eventually dinner at this place, one of the first things they offered us were cigars. And they went around to everyone, and I took one. I smoked cigars for quite a while, but quit that shit some time ago. But I was at the time, had a nice cigar. And this woman grabbed one too. And so I remember this long conversation with her, business related, but, maybe more, a little bit more personal than that in terms of doing the job or whatnot, but engaging. Right. And the whole time, both of us smoking these cigars and drinking shots and having fun with a group of people. And how it was such crazy eye candy to get into the place on the way there, because we got there in the late afternoon when things were kind of a lot of roller skaters
warming up.
Yeah. And I remember a great dinner. We were there for 6 hours, something like 5 hours. I don't know.
Nice.
But in just thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean,
shit.
Which one year, I believe it was Minneapolis, when I was head of a national group that sponsored conferences, we rented 300 of the 350 rooms in this hotel. And as part of the agreement, as you've heard me say before, I got the master suite, the big suite. So I went to check in, and they said, well, we're full. We're going to have to bump you. And they started talking about other hotels. And I said, wait a minute. You know who I am, right? I'm renting the entire hotel.
I have heard this, yes.
Right.
Continue.
Then make a long story long, there was one screw up after another. And I ended up, they tried to put me in a 2-star hotel, ended up in a 5-star hotel with a limo driver.
Yes.
At my beck and call, and an open bar bill in the hotel. I said, now I don't have any place to entertain here. And this is where all my speakers and guests are. And so they gave me an open bar bill. It was
Wow.
over $5,000.
Yes. Nice.
Not to count all the rest. But there's something about that when somebody else is buying the drinks, right? And you're just going around the table, what do you have? And it's like, well, I have a bottle of this or a bottle of that.
Right.
A lot of people drinking wine and one guy ordering hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars of very expensive wine and drinking a lot of it himself and ended up seriously, face down on the table. Face down on the table.
Yeah. Well, that's how it goes. So quickly before we leave Miami, after the conference, I had a flight in the evening, and so I had a morning to kill. And I Googled around what to do in Miami, and I found a boat tour that takes you around to celebrity homes
From the water.
from the water. And so I was like, sure, I'll do that.
Is that what you did? That's hilarious.
I had a morning free, and it was like a cool, like out on the water to like get aside from the celebrity thing, it was like a nice view of the skyline from the water.
And who were the celebrities?
So I took notes as they were announcing them with photos and everything.
Let's walk through them.
And so the first one was Antonio Banderas.
Oh, yes.
He has a nice house. Second one was Jackie Chan.
Uh-huh.
And his house is actually available on Airbnb for 10 people for $7,000 a night. So if you're feeling, when the Patreon check comes
That's
in.
only $700 a piece a night. That's not bad.
You're good at math. Very good. Then there was Floyd Mayweather for a $25 million home. And they all have like yachts parked outside, of course.
Yeah.
Then there was a house that used to be owned by Shakira that was like had all glass walls, and she sold it because she had no privacy.
Is that true?
That's what they told me.
And no one raised their hand and said no curtains then?
Yeah, that was the joke that they were making. Then Ricky Martin was another one. Puff Daddy had another one there. J Lo bought for $40 million in 2020.
Sold to her?
Yeah, sold to her, purchased by her. And then the biggest one was this guy that I didn't know the name of. It didn't register, but apparently it's the inventor of Viagra. And he has a $95 million home out there.
Oh, man.
Indeed.
And when you were there, did they mispronounce your name and call you Erect?
No, but nice try. And then there's a Will Smith has a house where they made the joke of we will not say his wife's name.
Keep my wife's name out yo motherfucking mouth.
Indeed.
Whew.
Then there was a house that used to belong to Shaq when he played for the Heat, but then he sold it to a Russian billionaire who is Naomi Campbell's boyfriend for $50 million. Then there's another one that belongs to Rihanna, David Beckham, Gloria and Emilio Estefan, who are married celebrities, have his and hers mansions on the same property next to each other.
Are they brother and sister or married?
Married.
And they each have their own mansion?
They each have their own mansion. The woman announcing things said, and this might be the answer to a happy marriage. Each have your own house.
Wow. Each own your really nice house?
Yeah.
Good
and
Lord.
then there was one used in the movie Bad Boys 2, another used in the movie Scarface, Say Hello to My Little Friend.
So how many hours was this? Couple 3?
An hour and a half. And then there's this special island called Fisher Island that apparently is the most expensive zip code in the U.S. It's an island and there's no bridge. So you can only get there by ferry or helicopter or whatever.
Yacht.
And on that island, there is property owned by Tom Cruise, Julia Roberts, and Oprah.
Just the 3 of them?
No, there's more, but those are the names that ring a bell. So anyway, that was a tour. And then
It sounds like a lot of fun.
And then we came back, and it was sort of like drizzling. So in Miami, when I was there, it rained from 12:30 to 1 p.m. every single day. Like there was a scheduled rainstorm, and that's when it rained.
And you were happy when it stopped, but much cooler.
Right, but then
Or maybe not cooler, but
humider.
Probably cooler, less humid.
Well, more humid. Well,
more humid.
I don't know. Like the water now is on the ground to evaporate up into the air.
Well, I suppose for the half hour immediately after it stops raining.
I'll give you that.
That's
Sure.
Then after that, it's even worse.
Indeed.
Because of what you said.
All right. Should we talk about television?
Let me see.
The second part of my week was in the Canary fucking Islands. Like I went from Miami to the Canary Islands, which are like
to
down
go
by Africa.
to a wedding or
to another conference. 2 conferences.
2 conferences.
Yep.
So what about that one?
I mean, that was another one. It was awesome as well in its own way. That was, remember when I went with my family to a volcano?
Yes.
It's that island. And so a lot of my conference friends felt the need to go see the volcano, whereas I didn't because I had been there already. And it was great. I had such a...
You were like, come on. It's just a fucking volcano.
Yeah. It's just the 3rd highest volcano on the fucking globe. Whatever. No, but it... I had a great time there. Probably better than Miami, actually. Just hanging out with... It was like 2 or 3 days, but it was just hanging out with people that I like.
And people you know.
People, I knew some of them, but some of them were new acquaintances. And 3 of the people had actually been at the Miami conference. So in the same week, we were there again. But it was nice. We also had good food. One quick story. So while we had, again, a day to decompress before the conference, and I went out with some friends of mine that I met from other conferences that live in the south of Spain, and they are all like, most of the conference speakers are like 30-year-olds or something, and these guys are like all my age, and they had rented a car. And they knew that the great place to eat on this island is to go to these little places in the middle of fucking nowhere. They're called huachinches. And huachinche. And
what's that mean?
I don't know. It just means little fucking place in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And when I was there with my family, we went to a couple of these, but this was one where this guy had heard of this place that like wasn't on Google Maps. Like you couldn't search for it. And so we ended up going to this place, and they had a little vineyard outside, and like the structure that we were in was mostly like plastic and shit sort of tied together. Like it wasn't it wasn't an actual building. And there wasn't a menu to order from. The waiter came and like listed some shit, and they were like, yeah, let's have one of those and one of those and one of those. And then they said, and then we'll have the so we thought we were ordering like appetizers, and then one guy said, and then for me I'll have the steak, and the waiter was like, whoa, like you guys should share a steak, especially after ordering all that other shit. And so we ordered that. We ordered what he suggested, and we also had half-liter bottles of wine. So a regular bottle of wine is of course 3/4, and this was clearly their own wine that they make. And we had all the appetizer stuff, and then we ordered a steak, and it was so fucking amazing. Like we thought it was some amazing like beef steak. Turns out it was like pork loin, but like really well seasoned. And so we ordered another one, and we probably had 6 half-liters of wine between the 5 of us.
Oh my God.
And there had never been any prices there was no menu, right? And so we went up to pay, and the guy was like, yeah, that'll be 66 euros. I think $70.
Oh
and
my
we were
God.
And we were like,
that's nuts.
And we were like, wait, each? Because it should be each.
Right.
But no, it was like $70 in total for this amazing, we could not eat anymore.
That's like a dream story there.
Yeah, and it was just fantastic. So anyway, I'll stop there. We can pivot.
There was I mentioned to you before this place in San Francisco that was a warehouse on the wharf and no name, and that's what they call it, the place without a name. and went there, and it was the best
Right.
seafood, all on picnic tables, and the cab drivers, which I was driving, at the time was before Uber, all knew where it was, of course, and but there's something about that.
And you could just be like, take me to the good place?
Yeah. Take me to a good place without the name. Well, I'm trying something different here. I just drank a Schmittix, but I didn't only had one cold. So I bought beer for my son-in-laws, and I'm drinking a big-hearted IPA.
Okay.
Mostly because it has a picture of a fish on it.
That does look like you're kind of a label.
Yes. Big-hearted.
Does it taste
I don't
fishy?
know. What's that?
Does it taste like fish?
No, I'm sure it doesn't. But here we go.
Dun, dun, dun.
Huh. Well,
Is it big-hearted?
It's cold. Yes. I read. Oh, what happened? So there we go. So, finale of Succession.
Wait,
I was so pumped up.
Hold on. First, the HBO chose to make everyone migrate to a new app. Like HBO, is being shuttered as a brand, and now you have to, on your smart TV and on your phone and on your iPad and everything. Now there's an app called Max,
Yeah.
and I could not when I tried to run HBO, it said no, install Max, and when I tried to install Max, they said not available in your region. Which kind of what fuck. So anyway, I found
To piss you off.
I found other ways to partake of the content. But anyway, yes, let's. I don't want to talk about the final yet. I want to talk about the penultimate, the funeral.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
That was a brilliant episode. The best episode ever until perhaps the final. Because I don't know, all the dynamics, everyone was there in the room, all the important people, and just how perfectly Roman, as his brother said, fucked it.
That was
brilliant.
Quite the dominant subordinate. Oh my God! That scene actually told me that Kendall had it in him to be as ruthless as his dad. And
because Roman was all like, yeah, I pre-grieved. He was all trying to be above the grief.
Yeah.
And so the official podcast that I've listened to about that episode had James Cromwell, the brother, Ewan. And they talked to him about that. And he famously is a super liberal
philanthropist
guy. And
Greenpeace. Where he gave Greg's money.
No. But the actor too is like.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I see
liberal.
what you're saying. Yes, I didn't know that.
And he talked about how he got up there in front of all these people because it's a real fucking church, and all those actors and extras and everyone were all there, and they told him, look, just run through it, and he could not remember a single fucking line of anything. He couldn't remember any of his speech, but he had it there on paper. But then he got up there and he said, "Good morning."
Do you know why? Remember anything? He had COVID.
He is suffering from long COVID, actually. But when he got up there and said "Good morning," the rest of it just flowed out of him. He didn't understand how or why. But what an amazing speech that!
I thought it was, and I thought the opening when he said, "What kind of family would try to stop a brother from speaking
in the interest of share price?"
Oh, yes, of course.
That was the
yes,
real key.
Yes.
But yeah,
and, hapless Greg. Hapless, conniving, clumsy Greg. Low man on the totem pole. Oh my God.
But that speech was fantastic. And then Roman did his little.
Well, this thing about Roman breaking down was, to me, the biggest surprise. In hindsight, I was like, you should have seen this coming a million miles away.
Right.
Because we all know that he's kind of crazy and high strung and just speaks
and
out.
shallow.
He's shallow beyond the pale, but we didn't know how emotionally damaged he was. And I'll tell you one thing that struck me about Roman, a million things, was it was clear how much he's in love with Jerry.
Yeah.
How much he's in love with Jerry. And of course, as a mother figure, and just, he is such a fucked up young man. The way I saw the scene with you fucked it scene between him and his brother Kendall like 3 times. First with the words on, second with the words on but not looking at them,
right.
And then third with no words. And what I was struck with, more than Kendall's aggressive spirit and the fact he's such a motherfucker, was just how genuinely wounded Roman was. Wounded, and you could feel the knife in his heart.
Yes.
It was excruciating. And you remember the old line where he said, "Oh, it's all right if Dad hit me. Everybody hit me. I was annoying."
Right. That is such an abusee excuse. Yeah. That whole, like, I loved how Roman was like, wait, is he really in that box?
Oh no,
like,
he was beyond.
It didn't.
That voice he used was from a really deep place in Culkin's freaking life.
Because
that was some.
He was the one that was always like, we need proof that Dad's really dead. Like, we have all this hearsay. Yeah. Anyway,
is he really in there? Can we let him out?
Yeah, he said, "Can we let him out?" God.
Well,
what a thing to say at a funeral.
When Roman hit it out of the ballpark, it was the second time in 3 episodes that he became the guy who could handle the public, and he did an enormously good job at the company announcement of his dad's death, and lots of congratulations. And it was the beginning of him being pumped up as the heir apparent, which continued obviously until just the last minute. But one of the things that we saw during that funeral speech is just how good he could be with thinking and talking about the world and money and what it does and how important is it. He was thinking on his feet. It was. How do I describe it? That gave us the best glimpse of the best of Kendall. Yes. Of anything before everything after.
More than the live whatever bullshit speech.
Yes. Let me ask you this: did you think he was going to jump in the river?
Hold on, you're jumping to the very end.
It just came to me. Yes or no? We'll come back to it later.
I considered it, but I don't think he's suicidal.
He said in the scene we are talking about.
Yeah, then we don't have anything to live for. But yes.
No, he said, if I don't get this, I think that I'll just be dead.
Right.
Not that he'd kill himself, but that he used that term. I would be dead. Of course, he was that was
right. He was the most accurate thing he said in that episode was, "I'm a cog that only fits in one machine."
Yeah.
Which is like so true. Okay. Yeah. So that funeral was amazing, and
Shiv's speech
was great, but then like Mattson overheard that Tom wasn't there because he was working, because he's such a hard worker, which let's go on to the final episode. Super fucking spoilers, everyone. What a finale.
This scene for me is the one that is through my mind again and again and again. And it's the absolutely final scene. And of course, leave it to Succession to make the final scene the one that you can't get out of your head.
Yep.
Is when Tom not in his arrogance, but in his understanding of his place in the world, his understanding of who he was and what his job was in the limo where he had offered Shiv a ride. He put his hand down on the console.
Yes, that's the
he opened it. She did not grasp it.
No, there was no grasping. There was no grasping. It was just
hand on top of it, almost on his wrist.
Yes.
As the most hesitant, unbelievably brutal to Shiv, the brutal reality that she now, by the way, all of those poor 3 kids, richer beyond belief.
Yeah, fuck them all
no,
to hell.
That was never mentioned.
No.
He's broken. Is he going to jump in the river? And Roman is of course, Roman, the last scene with him is one of the perfect smirks of the series. They all had one. Shiv had one when she thought that she was the North American CEO. That ended the episode. Kendall, when he realized that he was fucking his brother and sister and fucking the memory of his father by fucking up the Gojo deal, and that ended the episode. This was an ending episode only for Roman. It was the last scene in the series of Roman, and it showed him with the smirk. And one of the things that we know is that here he is. He's the only one suited to be nothing but filthy rich and just sit at a fucking bar and fucking drink. He doesn't care about fucking working.
No, he never has.
He does he even want it? Does he even want it? He doesn't. He just wants chaos.
Right.
He's an anarchist. In a shirt that's too tight.
That's right. It's like they lost, and they so-called lost, and they ended up with $50 billion each or whatever. Yeah.
It was actually what was the offer?
I don't recall.
We know this.
I don't really care.
$97 billion.
So divided by 3 with taxes and other stuff, we'll say 20 each.
Well, let's see.
15 billion, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, well, taxes at that level? What are you, crazy?
No. But
30 million each.
The what amazing writing to keep you on the edge of your seat the whole fucking last episode, and the whole going to Barbados with the mother, and how beautiful it was when the kids could be kids just briefly.
Didn't last
with the milkshake and whatever.
Did you realize? Did you think? Did you guess? Did you figure that a meal fit for a king and all of that crazy scene where they were kids again,
right?
And laughing and all just being goofy, and Kendall the goofiest of them all. When that was going on, did you think this won't last? Because I didn't. I thought that Kendall was in fact going to be king. I did not think that it was going to go south. At one point, I thought that it might because what's his ass, Madsen, was going to offer the CEO back to Shiv in exchange for her vote, because it ended up being up to her. She got nothing out of it except the job she wanted for her husband, the father of her child, which is just an abstract conceptual thing in as far as everyone is concerned, including her. Not one person said any concern or how are you or is everything okay or how are you feeling, or not one instant of thought on her part that we witnessed about actually having a baby. There was nothing. It was about just being pregnant. It wasn't about anything else. It was so shallow. But I'll tell you, the new series is right there, man. The new series is right there, and it's about Tom and Shiv and Greg. Greg and Tom are the most loved characters. And of course Kendall and Culk and have all sorts of parts. I mean,
how about that fight with
oh my god,
with Tom and Greg? It's like
that was like
Greg fucking slapped Tom. It's like
that was
ballsy, Greg.
That was a real slap. Well, Tom hit him, and he's like, "Fuck you," and it was a funny slapping fight. Unlike the Kendall Culkin or Kendall Roman fight where he had him up against the wall with his fucking thumbs and his fucking eyes.
Yeah, that was scary.
That was some serious shit. You know, Kendall can kill somebody. Now, I had a thought that was going to come up. His murder.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not the only one. That's absolutely right. I did not know, of course, that Roman didn't know anything about it. And it absolutely caused, Daddy just took care of it. Of course, it was after that Daddy certainly decided that Kendall was in succession. But for Tom to get it?
Like, imagine the look on Logan's face knowing that Tom got it, right?
Well, he wouldn't be surprised, and nor would he be displeased. His children were nothing but idiots. They weren't serious people. Tom was loyal to him, was going to go to prison for him. There's a scene they showed again and again and again that Shiv noticed when her dad saw him and gave him an affectionate touch on the shoulder, which as far as Logan would ever go.
Right.
And Shiv knew, and it was the beginning of their breakup, that he betrayed her to be able to get in good with her dad. I'm not sure if it was a betrayal for him to go to prison, but what he told Logan resulted in Logan calling his wife and reworking the agreement.
Yeah.
That's what Tom did, which meant that the children no longer had the authority vote. And Tom did that. So Tom did for Logan the most important thing. The most important thing about succession.
Which is?
It took away the only restraint that Logan had. The only one. It took it away. When that happened, the whole show went fucking crazy. That's when
the only restraint being family?
Yeah, pardon?
The only restraint being
yes, that the children had a major vote. If the children blocked it, it was blocked. Sort of like the UN.
Okay, I've got a couple of things to say. I heard an interview with Skarsgård, that played Madsen, and he said that he had the most fun he's had in this show was in that sort of interview with Tom, where Tom was like, "Yeah, I'm a pain sponge. I'm a puppet. I'll do whatever.
I'll sing for my dinner.
I'll sing for my dinner." And when Madsen says, "I'd like to fuck your wife," Tom is like, "Yeah, we're all men here. Come on."
That look on Tom's face. I'll tell you what an actor.
Yes, he needs to win. He needs to win everything except for all the things that McCulkin needs to win. Because,
oh God,
Jesus,
McCulkin's I'll tell you what. Is there any role that he reminds me of, like, I don't know, Christopher Walken kind of
oddness? Yes.
Yeah,
like he's not going to be a Jason Bourne kind of action hero, but he's going to be a odd bureaucrat kind of role. I don't know.
You could see him as a hitman. You could see him as a gang leader. You could see him as one of the foils in the Batman movies. I mean, he's out of this world good.
Yeah, he could be like a NoHo Hank sort of kind of person.
Oh, are we ready to change the subject?
No, I don't think we have time. I don't think we have time.
Oh my
but
God!
Succession, I'm so pleased with how it ended, and the drama right up to the end. So apparently the part where Kendall goes back into the boardroom and is like, wait a minute, let's adjourn this. That was all unscripted. Like they were doing the fight thing in their little room, and the director said, yeah, go on. And the camera people, not having any knowledge of this, like followed him in there and like did all of that totally impromptu. Like that was not part of the script at all for him to go back in there.
Done, Kendall. It's done.
And anyway, with the interview with Jeremy Strong, he he felt so defeated, like sort of kind of personally on Kendall's behalf, even though,
Yeah.
as all actors do, they're like, I'm not liking that character at all. But they've spent so much time inhabiting that character that they feel that character's emotions. But yeah, he said that was crazy. And apparently the very last thing that they shot was the thing on the little float in Barbados, where the sibling said, "Yes, you can be, you can be the king,"
one.
and they were like, "You can fucking smile, Ken.
You can have this bauble."
Yes.
So what went through your head during the drink for a king and all of that stuff, where he was Roman was licking the cheese and throwing it around? That seemed to me to be wildly unscripted. Just
it had to have been, yes.
And Shiv, Sarah Snook, was having the best time of her life. And I think she genuinely is shocked sometimes by what Kieran Culkin does.
Yes.
I can't imagine that licking the cheese was in the script. I think he probably went with that.
They according to Jeremy Strong, that played Kendall, that was a genuinely joyful moment for them.
Yeah.
Because they have been working together and been serious with each other for so long, and to just be playful with each other, like they've been working together for so long that they have this love for each other and in respect, and that was just a beautiful time for them. He said he actually did drink a little bit of whatever that was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So the Shiv, one of the things that's interesting is how those three sibs all express to each other at one time or another how they love them. They love the person.
Right. I love you, but I can't stand you.
I like Shiv with Kendall. I love you. What did she say? I love you, but I find you so fucking repulsive.
Yes.
And Kendall just obviously willing to finally.
Is that not what your wife says to you every night?
What's that?
I love you, but I find you so fucking repulsive. Because that's what I'm getting.
Well, after all your travels, I can imagine she's home with the kids while you're down in South Beach smoking cigars and drinking shots.
Well, that too.
Let's leave it on that, my friend.
All right, so we have Barry to talk about.
Yes, and a couple more Tuesdays, then back to Wednesdays, I hope.
All right, let's.
Okay, man.
Let's do what you said.
You're back.
Yes, I am. I am the eldest boy.
You're the only boy.
Said. I'm the eldest boy. Yeah, well.
Oh, I'm the eldest boy. Right? She thought that was funny.
Yes, she did.
She thought it was hilarious, repulsive. Oh, I got to leave this on. I got to walk away. Sorry.
No, you don't. All right, bye. Okay, that's it for episode number 184. Succession is over. Barry is over, but we will talk about it next week. You can find the show notes for this episode at happyhour.fm/184. Not a lot of show notes because, we just talked about the one thing mainly and my trips that don't have any notes. But you can support the show at patreon.com/happyhour. See you next week.